Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another episode of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to check today's video out. Always very grateful for that. Guys, today we're going to be talking about the 3 Megabass lures that every angler should own. Out of all the products Megabass makes, there's 3 that sort of stand head and above the rest, in my opinion, that every angler should have in their tackle box. So we're going to discuss that today. I'm going to show you what they are and sort of go over some good scenarios they work in. Also, guys, big thank you out there to everybody that's been hitting that subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling. I just wanted to give you all a personal thanks for doing that because we've had some really good channel growth out there. So if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the channel, I'd like to invite everybody to do that. Much appreciated with that. Okay, guys, you hear me talking about Megabass a lot. I've been, with the company as far as involved as a pro staff member since 1992. It's my longest standing sponsorship. I actually got on with the company shortly after Yuki Ito founded it in 1986, I believe he did. And I actually met the Japanese liaison for Megabass at the 1992 Bassmasters Classic, Masaki Murayama. And we sort of hit it off. And so I've been with Megabass ever since 1992. And since I've been with them so long, I've been through all the evolution of the product, creation they've had, the designs, seen it, all start from the very modest beginnings up to where it is right now. And so I'm very well versed in the product line. And one of the biggest things that I hear is, like, you guys hear me talking about Megabass a lot, because I do believe it is the best, lure company out there. I do. I mean, as far as, the product line that they have, the attention to detail, the components, everything that makes up the baits is just superior. And that's one of the reasons when you talk about purchasing a lure that's sort of on the high end, which Megabass is, you're paying for the attention to detail. You're paying for the components. It's like the quality split rings, the quality hooks, the tungsten ball bearings, the design element, the labor intensive painting process that goes into all of them. It's something that's just very, very time consuming, and it's very, very labor intensive. And the combination of the labor intensity and the high quality components is the reason the lure costs a little bit more. But the thing about it is, like fishing lures or sort of like golf clubs or whatever, you sort of get what you pay for. And so from that standpoint, that is one of the realities behind Megabass. And that's one of the reasons it's such a great lure. All the lures they have are such great lures simply because of the attention to detail. Now, out of all the lures they make, which is a lot, if you guys want to go on the Tackle Warehouse Megabass link, you can see everything they got. There's 3 that I want to talk about that if you're wanting to get into Megabass, or if you are familiar with Megabass and you don't want to buy everything that they have, if there's 3 lures that you could buy from Megabass, I'm going to give you what they are and sort of go over to that. So the first one we're going to talk about, guys, is the Megabass Srank Squarebill. Now, I had a big hand as far as helping with the design of this. This is something that took us over a year to design. The S-Crank comes in 3 different sizes. This is the 2.0, which is the largest version, and it comes in a 1.5 and a 1.2. This, in my opinion, is the best squarebill on the market. I've caught so many big fish on this. It's been around for quite a few years now. And again, attention to detail, the craftsmanship, the way the thing works in the water, just the balance of it, everything about it is just a fish catching bait. I've caught all over the country, everywhere I've went, I've caught a lot of good fish on this thing. And I'll tell you one thing, guys, I had the, if you're familiar with bass fishing, you're familiar with Beaver Lake in Arkansas. Beaver Lake is not known as like a big fish lake or quality fish lake. And it's a little bit better now than it used to be, but back in the time it was really tough. I caught a 22-pound bag of largemouth on the S-Crank at Beaver Lake practicing for an FLW tournament. And that showed me at that particular time the fish catching ability of this thing. To catch a 20-pound plus bag on Beaver Lake is a very tough fishery, and for the S-Crank to do that, I was just super impressed with it. But most of the time, with the S-Crank, guys, I'm fishing it around shallow cover, rock, wood, whatever the shallow cover may be. I fish it pretty much anytime the water temperature is over 50 degrees. So I'll start throwing it like in March when the water temperature reaches 50. I'll throw it all the way through the spring, all the way through the summer. all the way through the fall until it drops back down into the low 50s again. The only variation I have is the size. Most of the time in the springtime of the year, like this time of year during the pre-spawn, I'm throwing the large size. And as it gets hotter in the summertime, I go smaller and smaller. So like, for example, May, June, July, I'll be throwing the 1.5. And then later in the summer, like August, September, I'll go down to the little one, the 1.2. So I just adjust the sizes. And they come in a lot of different color variations. So the color variations just depends on the water clarity. But guys, I will put my Megabass, I'll link all these baits I'm talking about in the description, and my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys want to try some of these, or any other Megabass lures. If you use that link, it's a good way to help the channel out here. Definitely want to get you some Megabass S cranks. And that's saying a lot, because there's a ton of squarebill crankbaits on the market, guys. I mean, the market is saturated with squarebills, so I know it can get a little bit intimidating as far as which ones to choose, but you won't go wrong with the S crank. Next one, guys, is the Megabass Magdraft. Now, this is a bait I talk about a lot. This thing, the last 2 or 3 years, guys, this has become rapidly one of my favorite baits Megabass has. This is a fish catching bait like you cannot believe out there. It's thing that makes it unique a little bit. It comes in 3 sizes, or actually 4 now. There's a 5, 6, 7. Actually, I think they got a new size, a 7-inch. But they got a variety of sizes. I'll put the link in the description for it. You guys can check different sizes out. But the unique thing about it, guys, is when you reel the Magdraft through the water, the head vibrates like this side to side, as well as the tail waggling. And then you've got a really unique hooking harness here. You've got a magnet in the belly of the bait that keeps the lure in place or the hook in place like that on the belly. And then there's a little slot you can bury one of the trebles in there, which sort of hides the hook. And this right here is a big factor, guys, because one of the things that detracts from a strike a lot on a swim bait is the big honking hooks on it. And you can see how those Magdraft hooks are sort of almost flush with the bottom. And when I first started using it, I said, man, that's going to be a fish losing son of a gun, guys. But there's something about that, the way those hooks are positioned there, you don't hardly ever lose one. When they hit it, you got them, man. It's just a really good system out there. But anyway, the Megabass Magdraft is one of my favorites. And I'll catch fish on it all year long. My favorite time to fish it is in the spring, all the way between like now up until early June, or actually into June as well. I don't do quite as well on it in super hot water like July and August, but then again, they'll start biting in the fall time of the year. So my favorite months for the Magdraft is probably March, April, May, and then again, like September, October, November, sometimes into December. And again, colors and size just depend upon the lake you're fishing and the water clarity and all that type of stuff. The last one, guys, is you're going to think this is a 110, which is not. This is the Megabass Silent 110. This is a silent version. Now, everybody that bass fishes, unless you're living under a rock, you know what the Megabass Vision 110 is. It's the most popular jerkbait ever made. And the Megabass Vision 110 has tungsten balancers that slide. It's like when you cast them, they go to the front of the bait, and then, or excuse me, the back of the bait, and then when you work the bait, you know, they sort of distribute over there like that, and they create some type of a noise, you know, with the balancer systems in there. But the silent model has, the balancers are fixed solid in position where they don't move, which makes this bait solid. Now, one of the things you'll find out about jerkbait fishing, guys, is I prefer a silent jerkbait. I use the silent 110 more than I do the regular 110, simply because when these fish get close to this bait, let's say you're throwing it out there, and the flashing and the movement, the rattle of the hooks against the bait, it brings the fish over to it. A lot of times, if you're jerking that jerkbait and those balancers are moving when you jerk it, it's sort of noisy. And if the fish aren't really aggressive, if they're sort of inactive and they're skittish and spooky, they can sense that noise is not something real. But on the silent model, it doesn't have anything to telegraph or give it away. The only thing they see is the flash of the lure. There's no sound to it other than maybe the hooks hitting against the body. It's a very, very subtle, quiet bait. So when you have a fish studying this bait and it's right there and you twitch it, a lot of times they'll bite this thing when they won't bite the regular 110. So silent 110, guys, is definitely one that you should have there. But anyway, guys, if I could give you the 3, that's what it is, man. It's the S crank by Megabass cranking, the Megabass Magdraft and the Silent 110. Again, I'll link all these in the description of the video. And if you just want to start out slow, get you a few Megabass baits, these are my suggestions right here. And if you guys are big Megabass fans, just know that these are 3 of my favorite ones they make there. So anyway, hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk later.